You're at your parents' anniversary dinner, and your sister gets handed a house key wrapped in gold ribbon like she's royalty. You get a crumpled job application in a plain envelope. Your dad looks you dead in the eye and says, "This suits you better." But here's the twist, they'd already stolen your inheritance by forging your signature months before this dinner even happened. I'm about to tell you a story that'll make you question everything you think you know about family loyalty. This is about Carla, a woman who discovered that sometimes the people closest to you are the ones plotting your downfall. And what she did next? It's absolutely brilliant. So let me paint you the scene. Carla drives 6 hours through pouring rain to get to her parents' house in Pennsylvania. She's exhausted, shoulders tight from gripping the wheel, but she's there for what she thinks is a family celebration. The moment she walks in, something feels off. Her sister Lily is already there, diamond ring sparkling, laughing at their dad's jokes. The atmosphere is polite. Like Carla's a guest instead of family. Now, here's where it gets interesting. There's this perfectly wrapped box sitting on the kitchen counter, gold ribbon, boutique wrapping, the works. Lily keeps glancing at it like a kid on Christmas morning. Meanwhile, Carla's brought a thoughtful photo album she spent weeks putting together, filled with childhood memories. Her mom takes it and places it next to the paper towels like it's junk mail. Already, you can feel the favoritism, right? But wait, it gets worse. During dinner, Lily changes into a nice dress while Carla stays in her travel clothes. Dad pours wine for everyone except Carla, making some joke about her health kick. The conversation flows easily between the three of them while Carla just sits there, nodding and smiling when required. She's watching this curated dinner party unfold, and she's the unwanted plus one. Then comes the moment that changes everything. Dad stands up, clears his throat, and announces he has something special for Lily. He hands her that gold-ribboned box. Inside, a house key. Not just any house key, the key to their childhood home. The house where Carla grew up, where she has just as many memories as Lily. Dad says, "You've earned it. You've always been the responsible one." Can you imagine? Your entire childhood, your history, your sense of belonging handed to someone else like you never existed. But here's the kicker. Mom turns to Carla and hands her a plain white envelope. No ribbon, just her name scribbled in faint ink. Inside is a printed job listing for an administrative assistant position paying $38,000. Dad actually chuckles and says, "We figured this suits you better. Something manageable, closer to your pace." The audacity is breathtaking. While Lily gets a $600,000 house, Carla gets a job application for entry-level work that doesn't even require a college degree. The message is crystal clear: one daughter deserves wealth and security, the other deserves scraps. Now, most people would probably explode at this point. They'd scream, they'd cry, they'd make a scene. But Carla, she does something much more powerful. She says thank you quietly and excuses herself to the bathroom. And that's where the real story begins. In the bathroom, Carla pulls out her phone and finds an email from her bank dated 3 weeks earlier. It's a mortgage transfer confirmation for the house that was just given to Lily. Here's the shocking part: Carla is listed as a co-signer, except she never signed anything. She stares at the screen, her name perfectly forged on legal documents she's never seen. Her own father committed fraud. He stole her inheritance by literally forging her signature, then had the nerve to hand her a job application while giving away her birthright. The rage that builds in Carla isn't the explosive kind. It's cold, calculated, and absolutely terrifying. She walks back to the dinner table, grabs her bag, and tells them she has an early meeting. No one even tries to stop her from leaving. As she's walking out, she hears her mother's voice, not whispering, just loud enough to carry. She should be grateful anyone still thinks of her. That's when Carla finds the gold ribbon from Lily's box on the porch. It's damp and curling from the rain. She picks it up, not because it's pretty, but because it represents everything her family values versus what they think she's worth. She drops it in the ceramic dish by the door and finally exhales. Back at her apartment, Carla starts connecting the dots. She pulls out her journal and begins writing down patterns she's ignored for years. At age 10, her parents missed her science fair because Lily had ballet. At 14, Her mom told her not to wear a certain dress because it made Lily look washed out in photos. At 18, they skipped her birthday dinner to prep for Lily's SATs. This wasn't favoritism. This was systematic erasure. The next morning, Carla drives to the county recorder's office. She asks for property records, and what she discovers is mind-blowing. The original deed shows both her and Lily as co-owners after their grandfather passed. But there's a newer document, a title transfer dated just 3 months ago. Lily is listed as the buyer, their dad as the seller, price, $1. Carla's name is nowhere to be found, but her forged signature sits at the bottom like evidence of a crime. The contact email? Her father's, not even trying to hide his involvement. Here's where the story takes an incredible turn. Carla gets a mysterious phone call from an unknown number. A woman's voice, urgent and pained, says, "He said you'd never find out, but you should check the second drawer in your father's study before it's too late." Carla doesn't know who this woman is, but she's not going to ignore the warning. She waits until her parents post about their dinner on social media, then uses the spare key hidden in the garden planter, the same one from her high school days. In her father's study, in that second drawer, she finds a folder marked Trust Reassignment, Carla to Lily. It's dated months before the anniversary dinner, notarized and filed. Everything was planned. The job ad, the public humiliation, the exclusion from family photos, it was all a strategy to make her disappearance look natural. But then she finds something else. A handwritten note in shaky writing she recognizes as her grandfather's. If you're reading this, it means they've buried what's yours. Follow the coordinates. Her grandfather knew. Somehow, he saw this coming and left her a trail. The coordinates lead Carla to a remote cabin, her grandfather's old thinking place. Under the floorboards, she finds a cassette recorder and a sealed folder. When she plays the tape, her grandfather's voice fills the room. "Carla, if you're hearing this, it means the worst has happened. They erased you to secure the house and the inheritance for Lily. I never agreed to that. Never." He reveals that there's a trust he created specifically for her, but there's a catch. To claim it, she has to present herself with identification before her 34th birthday. And she has exactly 23 days left. This is when Carla transforms from victim to warrior. She flies to Arizona to find her grandfather's lawyer, who's been holding a sealed envelope for 7 years. Inside is an amendment that names Carla as the sole heir to not just the disputed house, but also a second property in Aspen that she didn't even know existed. The lawyer explains that the Aspen house was bought in her name when she was 16 under a guardianship clause. It only activates if she's legally proven to have been defrauded or estranged by her immediate family. Her grandfather literally built a safety net for the exact situation that happened. Now comes the confrontation. Carla's family invites her to another dinner to celebrate Lily's move into the house. But this time, Carla comes prepared. She brings silence, patience, and a single folder. When they start gloating about the house transfer, Carla calmly asks if they updated the deed yet. When her father admits to signing documents for her, she drops the bombshell. "Did I use my left hand all right?" The handwriting analyst was wondering because the signature wasn't consistent with any of my verified documents. The room goes dead silent. Then she places a cease and desist order on the table, referencing forgery and the trust they tried to hide. When Lily claims she doesn't have proof, Carla reveals she's been recording the entire conversation on her phone. The final courtroom scene is absolutely satisfying. Carla's lawyer presents the forensic signature analysis, plays the recorded confession, and produces witness testimony. The judge rules that the trust manipulation is invalid and declares Carla the sole legal heir to both properties. Her parents and sister have 30 days to vacate. But here's my favorite part. As Carla leaves the courthouse, she walks over to their table and gently places the gold ribbon between them. She doesn't say a word. She lets them keep their symbols and illusions while she walks away with the real thing. 2 months later, Carla wakes up in her Aspen house, the one she never knew existed. She finds a final letter from her grandfather explaining how he watched them dismiss her and couldn't make them love her better, but he could make sure they wouldn't have the final say. The story ends with Carla receiving an offer for an art exhibition in DC. She pours herself coffee, watches the steam curl in the quiet, and realizes that for the first time in her life, everything begins on her terms. This story isn't just about family betrayal or legal justice. It's about what happens when someone who's been systematically underestimated finally stops asking for permission to exist. Carla didn't just win back her inheritance, she reclaimed her entire identity. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories that'll make you see the world differently. And tell me in the comments, have you ever experienced favoritism in your family? How did you handle it? I read every single response, and your stories matter just as much as this one.